You tried coaching. Didn't work. You tried counselling as well. No improvement. It's time to move to discipline. Discipline is used to address persistent performance problems with your employees. And I have a couple of situations here as examples. The first one is absenteeism or tardiness. So, as you all know, if the person's not around when needed, and often no one knows where to find that person. Now, hopefully, you're able to address this in counselling and find out the deep root of this issue. If there is no clear reason and they're just late because they're late, or they're not turning up because they don't want to, then it's time for discipline. It might be output. So the amount of work a person's getting done decreases, or it might be sales and production are below normal, or it might just be how the work that they're doing has dropped away. Again, you'd be looking at coaching or counselling first. If that's not working, then we've moved to discipline. Complaints. So other employees are saying that person's not doing good enough, that we're really disappointed with the effort they're putting in. They're not putting in the effort that the rest of us are. They're not pulling towards the values and beliefs of the company. It might be initiative and they don't start work or do work until they're constantly reminded, or you're having to micromanage them the entire time. Things like cooperation, get along with others, and other job-related behaviours. All reasons that you might need to discipline employees. You've realised you have to discipline an employee, and it's now come to the interview. During the interview, you need to be calm, objective, and serious. Even though it might be in your nature to be jovial, this needs to be a serious conversation. You need to be specific about the problem and give them strict, specific examples. If you can't explain to them very succinctly what the issue is, how are they meant to understand it? Explain why the behaviour is unacceptable. It might be an impact on their performance or their relationships with work. So make that very, very clear. Focus on the behaviour rather than the individual. It's because you're doing this rather than it's because of you. Mention the fact that your previous discussions, so your coaching and counselling, have taken place, and this has been an issue for a while that you have both been trying to overcome. Listen to the employee. Let them state their case. Let them get their point across. It might be something that they were uncomfortable to tell you during the counselling interview, but now they've either felt more comfortable with you or realised that they need to lay their cards down on the table. Be very clear about the organisation's expectations and link that back to the values, the goals, and the performance standards of your organisation that hopefully have been drilled into them time and time again. And ensure that you're giving guidance and direction for correcting the problem. Don't walk out of there and say, yes, you just need to fix this. Tell them how, explain how, tell them how you're going to help them do this. In terms of closing the interview, inform the employee of the consequences of continued violation. Is it going to be they're going to be stepped down? Is it going to be they're going to be performance managed? Is it going to be they're going to lose certain responsibilities? Make sure that's very clear. Obtain agreement on prevention of behaviour in the future. Keep a record of the disciplinary interview. Give a time frame for review. So are you going to sit down in 2 weeks? Are you going to sit down in a month? Make sure it's very clear how long they have to try and correct that behaviour. If you've got a document there, which is always great, about what actions they're going to take, make sure you're both signing it and having follow-up meetings to review the progress. Set those in early so the worker knows what they need to do to improve and when they need to do it by. Again, another 3 key principles for you to remember. Take corrective, not punitive action. The emphasis here has to be on improvement, because hiring a new staff member, retraining them, getting them established within the team is incredibly expensive and can affect morale, etc. You really want to make sure that if you've chosen this person for a reason to be in your team, that you're helping them be part of that team. You want to explore what is wrong and, most importantly, what can be done to turn the performance around. This means focusing on the actions. They might be very specific on a day-to-day basis about what the employee can do, rather than what they can't do. We don't want you to do this, we don't want you to do this, we don't want you to do this. No. We want you to do A, we want you to do B, and we want you to do C. If you're focusing on punishment, it's going to invoke resentment and fear. And they're going to start talking about this interview to other people around the water cooler, and you don't want that coming back onto you as a boss. Really focus on counselling and coaching before using discipline. Managers make an effort, often done a few times, to bring performance concerns to the attention of the employee in a timely manner. We've talked about the importance of coaching and counselling the employee to work out ways for improvement before you end up disciplining them. Disciplinary action is really reserved for situations when improvement in a reasonable amount of time doesn't occur. It's not like you can coach on Monday, counsel on Tuesday, and then go into discipline on Wednesday. There needs to be a stretch of time where the employee can make changes and improve actions. Be firm, be fair, and show you care. And rhyme. Address problems directly and timely when they're in the early stages. Don't sit there and go, I'm sure they're going to improve, I'm sure they're going to improve. Jump on it early. Don't jump into the disciplinary early. Jump into the coaching early. Jump into the counselling early. Show concern for the individual, but be assertive. Okay, until this work is done properly, you won't be able to take on the project you've been asking for. Show me you can deliver this, and I'm going to trust you to deliver the project that you've been working on. It's the best way of trying to get employees to do what you need them to do. Remember, coaching first, counselling second, before you move on to the disciplinary interview.